It's that time again. The annual conference of the American Society of Ag Consultants, otherwise known as ASAC, is going to be held in Fort Myers, Florida, this November 4th and 5th. Kurt Covington is one of 9 professionals who will address the conference. The other speakers who will cover a wide range of topics represent Florida Farm Bureau, Florida Citrus Commission, University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture, National Ag Law Center, Risk Mitigators and Advisors, Tyler Associates, as well as the lead economist for dairy at Rabobank, and myself, Chrissy Wozniak from North American Ag. The day and a half of presentations will be followed by ag tours on Tuesday afternoon at Echo Farms, one of my favorite places here in Fort Myers. Attendees will experience farming at its most creative, with unique demonstrations, plants, and techniques being used to help farmers and urban gardeners in developing countries. A second tour at Echo will showcase simple technologies that can improve food, water, and shelter for millions of people. A third tour of a hydroponic grower is also being planned. For more information and to register, visit www.agconsultants.org. That's www.agconsultants.org. See you there. Welcome to North American Ag Spotlight. I'm Chrissy Wozniak. I am so excited to visit with our guests today. Not only are they both some of the most inspiring servants in our industry that I know, but I also get to call them friends. Russell Morgan possesses over 38 years of agriculture consulting experience, providing farm businesses, advisory services, and financial economic analyses. In his consulting practice, Mr. Morgan views his role as one of an educator. He touts himself more of an advisor than a consultant, aiming to teach clients how to address matters rather than just providing a solution for them. And Paige Gilligan previously served as Senior Vice President with Rabobank North America, located in Central Valley of California. She's now founder of Risk Mitigators and Advisors. She leverages her experiences in real property and personal property valuations to assist clients in understanding risk in their operations while matching those risks to the client's needs to maximize value. And Paige is also an active member of California Women for Agriculture. Today, we're going to discuss an event that's coming this November, hosted by MACS Academy. And MACS is an agriculture learning company that provides training and resources for farmers, ranchers, consultants, and other ag professionals. And the conference is going to be held right up the road from me in Fort Myers, Florida, and is titled The Sweet Smell of Success, a deep dive into sugars, science, and economic impact. With that, I would like to welcome Russ and Paige. Welcome, guys, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Thank you for the invite.
So let's start with each of your backgrounds. Paige, ladies first.
Okay, great. Well, like I said, Chrissy, it's wonderful to see you again, and I look forward to seeing you in person in November. But as for me, my background, I grew up in the Midwest in Indiana, in a rural area, attended Purdue University, where I graduated with a degree in ag business management, ag econ, and then later went and got my master's in business with a focus on e-business, which is doing business over the internet and electronically. So that helps me out in understanding a lot of systems and how they work and how to make them work better. And then I just kept moving west and worked for a couple of different banks and had a consulting firm for a little while in Arizona, then went back into the corporate world for about 9 years with Rabo. And then in 2018, started my own consulting company in Clovis, California, called Risk Mitigators and Advisors.
Very good. And Russ?
I was born, well, first of all, Chrissy, thank you again. Echo what Paige, thank you for the opportunity here today. I was born in Asheville, North Carolina, up in the mountains. And so my father decided he was either going to be a dairy farmer or an insurance salesman. And if he was going to be a dairy farmer, he wasn't going to farm in the mountains of Western North Carolina for very long. So we moved to North Middle Tennessee, a little place called Portland, Tennessee. It's just north of Nashville, right on the Kentucky-Tennessee state line. So I tell folks I'm mountain bred, farm raised. And so on that dairy farm, it was a dairy and tobacco farm. And I kid with folks, I tell them that on a dairy and tobacco farm, there's not very much time to get into trouble. But I had three brothers, and even though there wasn't much time, we found a way to get into a little trouble growing up. But from there, I received my bachelor BS degree in ag economics and almost had a double major in dairy science as well, just a couple of courses short. Thought I was going to go back and be a dairy farmer, but as you'll find from this example and the one immediately following, I'm a victim of poor timing. So it was not May of 1982, I went back to the dairy farm. And anyone who knows agricultural history knows that the 1980s were the farm financial crisis. Not a good time. It didn't take me long to see the handwriting on the wall, if you would, that there wasn't going to be enough farm, dairy, what have you, for an extra family to join that operation. So I went back and received my master's degree in ag economics, primarily farm management, production economics. And in September 1, 1985, I took a job with the University of Kentucky Extension as an area specialist in farm management in far western Kentucky. It's called the purchase area of Kentucky. If you look at Kentucky, anything west of the land between the lakes, that's the purchase area. And I was given the marching orders to go out and help save the family farms. Well, once again, end of the 1980s, not a good time. But it was, I would call it a baptism by fire. I learned a lot. And what I learned during that time, by the difficulties and just the rough times that were the financial times that were there, it helped me to this day with my clients and consulting work today. And so in 2003, I started my own business, my own consulting firm. I've been doing that ever since.
Very good. And we met through ASAC, American Association of, I always get it, American Society of Agriculture Consultants.
Right.
And I think I met you both there. And then that's when I learned that Paige was also involved with American Agri-Women. But it's a very small world, isn't it? But through that, I learned that you have MACS Academy. So can you tell me about that, some of the history and what it does and where it comes from?
Sure, Chrissy. Well, I'll start off. And really, this was Russell's baby. And we've been years and colleagues, for many years. And we got together and, we were just thinking, what is missing? There's something missing in the adult education piece as far as ag consulting is concerned. And so we got together and we said, hey, we can do this. We both have a passion for agriculture, for education, for teaching, people to be able to handle more things themselves and to be more educated in general. So our mission at MACS Academy is dedicated to expanding the horizons of future agricultural generations by providing high quality, relevant, and focused professional development training. And we really want to focus on the aspects of future agricultural generations. Okay, so we have an aging population for ag producers. And so we want to be able to make sure that the younger generation coming up has the tools that they need because the world is changing and the educational needs, vary widely across all agricultural consultants.
Right. Yeah. And that's beautiful.
So, Russ, did you have anything additional?
I would offer an addendum, if you would, and echo number one, what Paige mentioned or stated. And as Paige stated, we've known one another for probably longer than Paige cares to remember, but we met through the American Society of Ag Consultants, or ASAC is what we call it for short. We worked together on committees, various committees. They've been directors together, officers together. In fact, I think, Paige, you're the only two-time president of ASAC, as I recall. So anyway,
Wow.
so we've interacted through ASAC, and one of the committees that we spent quite a bit of time together on is the Continuing Education Committee. And in that, from that committee, what prompted a discussion, and I conceived this idea a few years ago, and I'll give you a little bit of history on this, that there seemed to be a dearth, as Paige mentioned, a shortage of professional development, educational opportunities for fellow agriculture consultants, farmers, ranchers, and other agricultural professionals. So I mentioned that idea to Paige sometime during our after hours fellowshipping, if you will, where you sit around and you have discussions and you just talk about things, that all kinds of topics. And she bought into this idea and latched on to it, and indicated she'd like to be a part of it. And my mama didn't raise a fool. And with Paige's her intelligence, her experience, and her enthusiasm and energy, of course, I said, yes, let's do this. And so that's where it started. And we've been developing it, the concepts over the last couple of years. And this year we're launching the initiative, starting with courses, educational opportunities for fellow ag consultants, and we will grow it from there. In addition to those virtual, and we have one live course offered prior to the annual conference in Fort Myers this year. We also conceptualized developing of some professional development ag tours, and that's what the one that we're discussing today in Fort Myers immediately after the annual conference of ASAC. And so that's a little bit of history of how this came about. And with regard to the name, my company's name is Morgan Ag Consulting Services, and that's where I call it MACS for short. So in our initial discussions, I said, well, I'm thinking about calling it MACS Academy. And once again, we stayed with that, and that's where that name came from.
That's perfect. And I can say knowing you both together, you complement each other so well in this, and I know it will be very successful. And I also have to say that I forgot to mention at the beginning of this question that I think it was actually the wonderful Warren Clark that got us all together at the very beginning, just in case he was listening, and and I had forgotten to give him that credit. So from Ag PR. Yeah. So tell me more about the offerings. How are these educational components served up, and how are they, consumed by the people?
So the way that we designed the company is we wanted our courses to be affordable, convenient, flexible, and still remain that high quality. So all of our courses are taught by experts in the field, and they cover a wide range of topics. And of course, both Russell and I are instructors for different courses covering different specialties. But the courses are going to be available both online, and by online, I mean a virtual learning. So they are not self-paced, at least not yet. But we really believe in the one-on-one training connections that these courses provide. And even though that they're virtual, having that still face-to-face contact is really important for adult learners. And that's so we'll have the ability to do virtual as well as in person, because some of the courses, they're tiered. So you would have like a principles and then a practices. So the principles we would be able to handle virtually through a virtual classroom. And then the practical and practicum part of it will be in person, to make sure that everything. We're still getting that personalization and giving, immediate feedback with multiple people.
Very good. And so who is your target audience?
Well, we go ahead, Payne, if you, okay, all right. The target audience, we're agriculture consultants, which, as I mentioned earlier, that was the initial conceptualizations were the target. But we also will looking at farmers, ranchers, agribusiness people like fish farmers or other agribusinesses, if you would, as well as agricultural professionals, and that can come in the form of perhaps ag lenders and folks that work in the ag space with agricultural producers. Let's see, I think that's the majority of our initial target audience, but with the opportunity will be there. Oh, I'm sorry, ag tech is another area that we plan to target as well, because that is certainly developing and will be continuing developing for some time. The specifics, the technical expertise, if you would, needed to implement, to analyze quite a variety of agricultural technology. And so that is another target audience that we're aiming for. Did I miss anything, Paige?
No, I just wanted to add to that. We found that the courses that are out there for professionals, specifically ag professionals, are more classroom based and textbook based. And our training, the way we have differentiated ourselves, is that it is more on a practical level. So here are the principles behind it, and then how does that actually apply to what you do day to day, and to help bridge that gap for adult learners, because as adults we learn differently, and we believe that that's an important piece that has been missing in the education field, at least the ag education field, for a while. And so by tying it directly to something that the attendees will do on a regular basis, we believe that we will have a better outcome, and the students will have a better outcome.
Yeah, great points. So tell me about the November 6th event. I'm very excited for this event.
Yes, I am very excited as well. It's called The Sweet Smell of Success, a deep dive into sugar's science and economic impact. So it's going to be Wednesday, November 6th of 2024 in Fort Myers, Florida. And we are going to start off the day with a tour from Raising Cane Tours. So we're really excited. They provide a tour where we'll see local sugarcane farming, milling, processing, and all of the operations up close. So I personally do not have experience with sugarcane, so that's why I'm really excited to go over to the East Coast and see what they have to offer. But that's the morning. And then in the afternoon, the reason why we call it a professional development tour is that it's not just a tour, okay? We have the professional education that is provided along with it. That's why we say the deep dive, because we're not just going to be on a bus and traveling around taking pictures like tourists. Will actually be there will be people with us that will be answering some in-depth questions on the industry overall. And then in the afternoon, we have been able to get some top people in the sugar industry to help us go over the macro impact of the sugar industry in the U.S., and that's Dr. Karen DeLong. And then Dr. Michael Deliberto is going to be covering the sugar production cost and returns. So it's not just going to be, like going over reading the cost studies that we can all get online. He is going to help us understand the whys behind it, as well as some decision tools that he and some colleagues have developed, and being able to do a comparative analysis. As a consultant, that's very important. And then we'll be wrapping it up with crisis and disaster planning development from Midwest Food Bank. So one of the things that is in agriculture, and Chrissy being in Florida, especially with the current hurricane season, you need to have a disaster plan. And so we thought it would be very, um, very great to have Midwest Food Bank, who participates in disaster crisis management, be able to give us some tools and tips on how to handle that. Russell, did I miss anything?
No, Paige, you covered it very well. I would just an addendum on the two presenters, on Dr. DeLong and Dr. Diliberto. Karen DeLong, she's a University of Tennessee professor. However, her background, she grew up on a sugar beet farm up in Michigan. And so she has a history of research and experience in the sugar industry. And the sugar industry is more than sugar cane, because we'll be visiting sugar cane farms in Central Florida. But sugar beets, and she'll cover this as well in her presentation, it also includes sugar beet production. And actually, sugar beets provide just a tad more than 50% of the total sugar production, if you will, or not if you will, but production in the U.S. So Karen will be, we're very fortunate to have Dr. DeLong speaking with us. And in our interview with Dr. Diliberto, he was very impressive, very knowledgeable, and we have a coup in landing those two presenters.
Yeah, it's going to be a very good day. And I'll add as well about Midwest Food Bank. It was mind-blowing how efficient they are, how we were in a complete disaster where people couldn't get gas, couldn't leave their homes. We had no electricity for 12 days, no anything, no connection to the outside world. And somehow they got our city enough food. And it was all just lined up in the churches and ready to go out. They have a plan and they do it very well. So I'm excited to hear, even though I've experienced what they've done, I'm really excited to hear how they do it. If anyone wants a teaser, I did do a podcast episode with them after the hurricane, which would have been 2 years ago. It would have been end of October 2022. So if you want to scroll back in the podcast, you can find Midwest Food Bank and get a bit of a teaser of what we're going to see and hear from them. So very excited about that. So what's in the future for MACS Academy? What do you guys see going forward?
We have plans, like Russ was saying, the different target audiences that we have, building out just more robust training, practical training that will be given from experts in the field, and not from, I hate to say it, but not from somebody who just sits behind a desk at a university or an extension office all day. People that are out in the field working and providing, being able to answer some of those hard questions that that people have. And again, looking at the ideas of ag tech, forestry, fishing, agribusiness, as well as production. And Russell, I'll let you talk about some of the actual classes that we have planned.
With regard to, let's just say, farmers, ranchers, and agribusiness, there will be financial analysis, financial planning, and succession planning, transition planning. Those are courses that are planned, and we, as Paige mentioned, we will engage experts in those particular fields to present a practical education is what I call it. I think the term that I've used sometimes is not what to think, but how to think, because you use the educational platform, the educational practical information, if you would, to not just view one particular matter, but how to analyze future matters as well. And so that's the conceptualization, the focus, the idea, if you would, the philosophy is probably a better way of saying it, behind MACS Academy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. You've got a bright, shining future. I know it. So where can people find more information?
We just recently launched our website, so we're online at max-academy.com, and all of our professional development tours and our classes are there. You can sign up. It's an easy online payment system, and then we will send you the information on any of the classes or the tours that you sign up for.
Perfect. I have one last question for each of you. What's drawn me to both of you is your clear desire to serve our industry, and not just in your work. You both have extensive volunteer commitments as well. And being, both members of American Society of Agriculture Consultants and then California Women for Agriculture, what drives each of you to have this servant mentality? Why do you do what you do? Paige, you go first.
I'm gonna let Russell go first on that one.
Okay.
Well, Paige has a wider array of service. Mine is a little more narrowed, but actually both of us are intense. So I don't know if it's more intense, but certainly intense. I, growing up in the farm communities, excuse me, having worked my entire adult life in agriculture, working directly with farm producers, as I mentioned, starting my professional career in some very dark times in production agriculture. And so you get close to those producers, and that stays with you even after the times get better. And so you have this longing, if you will, or a longing has developed, if you will, to continue to serve. Of course, you have to earn a living. You got to turn the lights on. You have to do all that. But more than that, you have a longing to give back, if you would, to the industry. And I have chosen American Society of Agriculture Consultants. I'm involved in another professional organization that I'll vice president this year, the Farm Financial Standards Council, which focuses on financial analysis, managerial accounting, and that type of thing. But once again, with producers, and the idea there is provide producers information so they can make better management decisions. And so that's where my desire and striving, if you would, and longing comes from.
Wonderful.
And I would say, I echo Russell on, his thoughts. And for me, it's so important to teach about agriculture. There's so many people that have no idea where their food, where their clothes, the fact that the lumber that they get at the big box store is agriculture. There's so much out there, and it touches so many people. And that's really, why I have the desire to, I call it advocating, to others. I'm involved in a lot of organizations, and a lot of them are really focused. I was looking at this the other day. Are really focused on educating, and so California Women for Agriculture, American Agri Women, that together, they focus on the legislative aspects and the educational piece. I'm on the Ag Lenders Society of California, and we provide educational opportunities to lenders and other industry professionals, so like title people, lawyers, accountants, but things that are more focused towards the lending area and what is important in that aspect. And I've been involved with many other organizations through the years, but to me, it's all about sharing the wonderful aspects of agriculture and helping people relate to it, because we're so far off. We're not connected to it like we used to be. And just trying to get across the fact that, chocolate milk doesn't come from brown cows is one of my main goals, and that they know, and starting with the kids, going and teaching children what agriculture is about and all of the opportunities that are available. There's so many opportunities, and agriculture is very progressive in technology, which a lot of people don't think about. And that's where I try to work and mentor kids that are in STEM programs, and with a focus on the agricultural aspect.
I love it. That's wonderful. No wonder I'm friends with you guys. To surround yourself with inspiring people. That's what I always like to do. So thank you both so much for joining me. Great conversation. And again, I can't wait till November.
Thanks so much, Chrissy.
Thank you, Chrissy.
And thanks to everyone who's watching or listening. If you want to learn more, the links are provided in the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe to North American Ag Spotlight on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Listen Notes, or if you prefer video, you can find us on Rumble or Telegram channels, really wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you like this episode, I would love it if you shared it. Have a great day.